anything that you spend on this book selling business, you want to be using a separate bank account for any money that comes in from Amazon. If you're using credit cards to make purchases for inventory and things like that, that credit card should be completely, it does not have to be a business credit card, but it can just be a credit card in your name. But that particular credit card is dedicated solely to your business. And the reason for this is because this is pretty, once you get an actual entity, this is a pretty strict rule from the IRS that all of your business finances and all of your personal finances have to be 100% separate. And if you're not doing that, all sorts of bad things can happen on the end of, like, if they feel like you're saying you're an entity, but you're not treating yourself as an entity, a lot of the privileges and benefits that you get from being a separate financial entity or a separate business entity from yourself are taken away. And the biggest gaping one of that is like if you set up an LLC and you're not keeping your finances separate, they are not going to treat your LLC and you as separate entities. They're going to treat you as the same, which means if something were to happen, you were to get a lawsuit or something like that, your personal money is not protected from the LLC protection, because the government's just going to look at it and say, no, you haven't been operating in it as an LLC, so your LLC is not eligible, or it's not a true LLC, so that protection just goes away. So it's important because these are the simple things that you can start right away. Not a big deal. It's not that hard to go to your local bank and set up another bank account. The bank account, again, it doesn't even have to be in your business name. It does not have to be a business bank account. Just create a separate bank account that is specifically for your business. And the same thing goes on the credit card side. If you're going to be making your purchases via your credit card, then get a dedicated credit card for your business. That's advantageous for you as well, because if you do that, it's just a whole lot easier to track your business expenses. You're not digging through a credit card trying to figure out which was the business expense. Like this time I went to a Goodwill and bought books. Well, the other day I went to Goodwill and bought clothes. Which one's the right one? It just keeps it much easier and simple to maintain from your end when you have to start keeping your books. And then just go into this mentality where, treat it like a business. So sit down and figure out. And I'll be honest with you, I have found, and I think over time, every business owner just finds like, man, I've been really doing a bad job with this. I should have had this in there. I should have had this in there. So don't get too frustrated if you're like, I think I'm not doing a good job, because you're just going to get progressively better and better at it over time. But sit down and think about, okay, so I have money coming in, I have money going out. This is a lot different than your traditional job where the paycheck just comes in and that's your money to spend. With a business, you have money that comes in, but a lot of that money goes back out. And I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs who do not understand the concept that, well, I bring in $60,000 a month in sales. And it's like, yeah, but you have $45,000 going back out. So you are not making $60,000 a month. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs that do not understand this concept. And quite frankly, from a business perspective, that's really scary. Because that is where you can get yourself in a lot of trouble, because a business can create this illusion that you're making a lot of money because you see a lot of money flowing in. But when you take into account the money that's flowing out to make that money that's coming in, you might not be making nearly as much money as you think. So it's important for you to sit down and think about a system of, and it does not have to be complex. It does not have to be overly, where I'm not talking about you need to subscribe to the most complex version of QuickBooks and learn how to use it thoroughly. No, just create a spreadsheet, and each month you put in, this is the money that came in. This is the money I spent. This is the money I actually made. So you truly know how much money is coming into your business and going out of your business. And what you're truly making within the business. Just to give you an example of this, and I'm looking back, so I've been doing this for 15 years. And I think probably in the first 4 years, I unfortunately do not have all of I guess I could go back and look at old tax returns, but I don't really have good numbers to really confirm this, but I would not be surprised for the first 4 or 5 years that I did Amazon, I was probably just breaking even. And that was okay, because at that point in time, it was a very, very much a hobby. And so the idea of making money, and I'm kind of glad that maybe I didn't know what through those 5 years that I wasn't really making that much money, because the money that was coming in kept me motivated, and I kept building and building, and obviously now I make money. But had I approached that a little bit smarter, maybe a little bit better organized, I would have realized that, and I probably could have grown it a lot faster than I did, because at the time I might not have even realized there was an issue, because it just seemed like everything was going well. Money came in, money went out, but I was always good at the end of the month, so I must be doing something right? Where having much more detailed records to give you a much truer face of how much you're making is very important. Because if you have never run a business or a side hustle or anything like that before, and you're getting into this for the first time, I promise you're gonna screw this up, because this is not something our brains are wired to know how to do. It is a completely foreign thing, and you have to learn how to do it. So, first of all, the important parts of this episode is to first, one, get your finances from your business and get your personal finances separated. And that means a separate bank account. If you're using a credit card, it can be a debit card that's attached to that bank account. But if you're using a credit card or a credit card, that credit card should be solely dedicated to your business. So the only time that card comes out is when you're making a business purchase. That's number one. Number two, understand your numbers. So sit down, think about it. And it does not have to be a complex system, but think about a simple way where, hey, I have money coming in and I have money going out. The difference between those two is what I'm actually making in profit. How can I have a system that looks at that every month so I know where I sit, so I know whether I'm making money or not? And then also be considering different business or look into the different structures that your business can have. Again, this is not something that you need to do today if you're just starting out, but look at what's an S-Corp, what's an LLC, what's a sole proprietor, what's a partnership, what advantages do each of them have, and kind of be thinking about once I get to that next level and I want to set up this infrastructure, which one is the right one for me? So those are the big things that you want to think about, is just to be very diligent about your profit. Be diligent about keeping your expenses and your business expenses, personal expenses separate. And that's going to put you miles and miles ahead. You do those like 3 things, you're going to be miles and miles ahead of most Amazon sellers, because most people get into this business and they're not thinking about that at all. All they're thinking about is sourcing books and making profit, which all in all, that's probably the most important thing to be doing. But it's thinking about these few things from the get-go is going to make, as you grow, it's going to make things a lot easier, because you're going to be disciplined. You're going to be used to keeping those expenses separate, that income separate. You're going to be used to treating these 2 things, you and your business, as 2 separate entities, which is what they need to be. Today, that was pretty simple, pretty short, but I just wanted to get that out there because I feel like that's an important lesson that specifically people that are looking at selling on Amazon will miss, because typically when you start the idea of selling books on Amazon, the first thing you do not do is go out and take a business course.